Hold on. How much was the ticket?
$2,500.
Oh my God.
Like, I hear nothing. Like, I try and contact Mike. Mike is like, we'll get back to you soon. We'll get back to you soon. Nothing. Eventually, I get a text message from an unknown number that I've never texted before, just saying, are you ready? And I was like, and I replied, I was like, who the fuck is this? That's what I said. I was like, who the fuck is this? And then I get a text message of Gary shirtless and flexing. Nice. And that's how I found out that I got it.
Three, two, one, boom. All right, bro. I hope you don't get mad at me when I say this, okay? But if there is one motherfucker that I've been talking about since day one to every fucking fitness friend that I have, is you have to look at fucking Jordan Syatt's content. What you've been able to do, man, being original, being yourself. You're not the classic trainer that's mad dogging everybody, showing off how ripped you are, stuff like that, bro. When did you come up with that genius idea to say, you know what, I'm going to be me?
Thank you. It means a lot, man. Seriously, I appreciate that. Man, I don't know. I think, so I've been making content for over 10 years now, right? I started in July of 2011. My content has gone through many different shifts. Like, if you like, early on in my career, when I was a young kid, I was very self-conscious of how people saw me. And I think I felt like I had a lot to prove to people because I was young. So if you go back and look at my old content, you'll see I was trying to use really big scientific words. Like, I was trying to impress people with my knowledge rather than actually help them. So my content has transformed a lot in that sense. But I remember my first ever website that I made in July 2011. I'll never forget this. Like, I don't know if I can cuss on your show.
Do whatever the fuck you want, bro. You're Jordan Syatt, bro. Come on.
I said like fuck and shit and like on the homepage of my website. And I remember my mom telling me, she was like, nobody's ever going to want to work with you if you swear. And I remember telling her, I was like, if someone doesn't want to get my fitness help because I swear, then I don't want to work with them anyway.
Right.
And so I think I'm very lucky in that it's sort of just part of my personality where I've never tried to really put up much of a front. I am who I am, but there's definitely been improvements and changes as I've gotten more confident in myself and what I have to offer, for sure.
Bro, as you did that, right? Because there's obviously a pre Gary V and there's a after Gary V, right? Yep. You were doing content before Gary.
Yeah, for a long time. Yeah, that's how Gary found me.
Okay, what made you do content?
So the reason I started making content was, so I started coaching when I was 14. I got my first internship when I was 14 years old. I was wrestling. I made varsity as a freshman in high school, and I had to cut a lot of weight. And I was good from a technique and endurance perspective. I'd been wrestling since I was 8 years old at that time, but I wasn't where I needed to be strength wise. So, because I was going up against mainly juniors and seniors, and I was a freshman, I needed to get stronger. So I reached out to this gym and I was like, hey, I'll take the trash out. I'll clean the floors. Like, let me just come and intern and learn from you. Fortunately, they said yes. And I started coaching from when I was 14, 15 years old, and I fell in love with it. So I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. This is my job. Like, there's no reason for me to do anything else. And so all the guys, all the coaches I looked up to when I was young had websites, and I would read their articles, like their long form articles. And like, I got obsessed with it. And this is in 2007, 2008, 2009, like way before Instagram. Even Facebook was really, really new.
Right.
So I would just spend all day reading these like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 word articles. And so in my mind, the next step was, okay, if I want to become an authority in this field, then I have to make a website and I have to start making content. And this was before online coaching or online fitness was a thing. So I didn't know having an online business was possible. Like, in my mind, there was no reality. The concept of making money online as a coach was completely foreign to me. I didn't think about that. So I just started making content because that's what all the people who I looked up to had done prior. And as a result, after like 2 years of actually making content online and being super consistent every single week, publishing hundreds of articles, then people started to reach out and ask for coaching, and that it sort of accidentally turned into a business. But I just did it because I was copying the people who I respected.
Jordan, that move that you said, hey, I would reach out to people, I'll cut the grass, I'll fucking take out the garbage can, all that bullshit. How'd you learn that? Who'd you get that from?
I think I probably got that from my mom, to be honest. I remember growing up, like we didn't have much money growing up. And I remember all my friends got allowance, and my brother and we never got allowance. And I used to be upset about it. I'd be like, well, how come Tucker gets an allowance and how come he gets an allowance? And thinking back is because they didn't have any money. Like, they didn't have enough money to just give me money.
Right.
And my mom used to be like, listen, you live here for free. Like, you don't have to pay anything. Like, we feed you. You got a roof over your head. It's like, if I tell you to take the trash out, you take the trash out. If I tell you to like clean the kitchen, you clean the kitchen. And the idea of getting paid to do stuff was very foreign to me. It was just like, because everything I did in my house, I was like, that's what you're supposed to do. So for me, just reaching out, I knew that they had knowledge and they had skills that I was lacking. So I was like, listen, all I need to do is just get there. If I can just get in with them, then it'll be worth it. And I'm more than happy to clean the yoga mats and to clean the floors and wash the equipment and put the equipment away, if that means that they can teach me and I can learn from them. So I think it was just growing up with my mom and her being like, you think you're supposed to get an allowance? Get out of here. Like, go clean the dishes.
Dude, that is awesome, man. How good were you as a wrestler?
I was okay. I started wrestling when I was 8. I went pretty far into the state tournament each year as a high school wrestler, but I never won states and I never placed top 3 in states. So grew up in Massachusetts. It's not like Ohio or Iowa wrestling at all. So I bet in a state where it was like really high level, I wouldn't have even gotten to states, but I was a good, decent wrestler, definitely above average, but nothing to write home about.
Jordan, the hard thing about wrestling, bro, unless your dad is a wrestler,
Yeah.
It's not like baseball, basketball, where your dad's not going to wrestle with you in the mat and do the moves, right?
Yeah.
So that's why you're very vulnerable and that you need coaching, right?
Yeah. And also, I mean, yeah, you're 100% right. Like, it goes like that for every sport. Like, if you have a dad or mom or whatever who was like really active in that sport, like, and they coach you from that. But I was the only athlete in my entire family.
Right.
Like, I was the black sheep. No one in my family was athletic. No one liked sports. Everyone was academic, and I was terrible in school, and I loved athletics. So considering like how little actual training I actually had, I think I was very lucky. I know a lot of my friends, like, they had fathers and grandfathers who were wrestlers, and they went to like wrestling camps in the off season and did all this stuff. It's like, I only wrestled when it was season, and like, I just learned what I learned from the coaches, and that was it. So I think I was actually really lucky.
When then do you make the move to Israel?
So the first time I went to Israel, I was 16. I went like a youth trip with my synagogue. It was like for 12 days or something. Fell in love with it.
To Tel Aviv?
So we went all over. So we lived in Tel Aviv. We went and visited Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, the Negev. We were all over. It was like a super quick 12-day trip or so. Just went all over the place. Fell in love with it. I hated school. I knew I didn't want to go to college, especially not right away. So I found this gap year program that like you can go to Israel for a year and volunteer, right? So you go and you volunteer. So I volunteered with Holocaust survivors and volunteered all over the country, in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem and Haifa, everywhere. And so I took a year off, didn't go to school. I went and volunteered in Israel, and I just fell in love with it even more. I was going to join the Israeli Defense Forces, and my mom said she would absolutely kill me if I did. So then I came back and went to school. And then after school, and I had started building my business, then I could work online. So I moved back to Israel after that.
Dude, and from what I've heard, the Israeli military is like fucking, that is one of the most gangster militaries in the world, right?
It's insane. I have a number of friends who have served and who still serve, and they're the scariest dudes I know. Like, it's crazy.
You speak Hebrew?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Because your parents taught you, or they spoke it at the house, or you just wanted?
No, so we didn't speak anything growing up, and it was just English. My parents didn't grow up like I was very fortunate enough to be able to bring my mom to Israel for her first time. So we didn't speak any Hebrew. When I moved there when I was 18 for that like gap year program, I got enrolled in Hebrew courses, And then ever since, like, my goal for that year was to be able to conversationally speak Hebrew by the time I left, which I did. And when I moved back after college and I lived there for a long time, my Hebrew really picked up, mainly because I actually started to personal train and coach people in person, and they weren't speaking English. So I really had to like put it into practice. So I'm all self-taught, and I learned while I lived there.
Dude, that's awesome, man. How awesome is it, the Jewish culture, bro? Because looking outside in, there's such great things about it, man. Talk to me. How proud are you to be Jewish? Like, talk to me about that whole experience, man.
Yeah, I love it, man. I'm biased, but
Right.
for me, I grew up not really religious, but a big part of the culture, right? A big part of the culture. And for whatever it's worth, the Jewish community is interesting in that you sort of have the American Jewish community, and then you have the Israeli Jewish community. And it's very interesting. When people think of Israel, they often think like, oh, well, so it's the Jewish state, so everyone must be like super religious. It's not like that at all. It's actually over 70% of Israeli Jews are secular. They're not even religious. I've found that more Jews in the United States are religious, and I think it's because in Israel, in Israel, Judaism is a part of everyday life. It's part of the state.
Yeah, you're just living. You're just living.
And in America, I think a lot of Jews lack that. It's not a Jewish country. It's not a Jewish state. And their way of getting closer to Israel and to the religion is to practice it more seriously here. So for me, I'm not like super religious. I'm much more involved in the community, and I love how welcoming and warm the community is. One of my favorite parts about Israel is just no matter where you go, like you could be at a bus stop, meet someone that you've never met before, and within a few minutes they'll invite you over for dinner. It's just the most kind and welcoming community I've ever seen. Doesn't matter where you're from or what you do. Like I've just been always welcomed with open arms there, and so that I've fallen in love with it.
Just like New York, right? Bro, I have, because I want to hear that experience, because I have a thing, man. Did you get to hear your brother me on his show or him on mine?
I did not. I'm sorry, I did not.
You have to, bro. He crushed it, man. What I think I crushed it on his because he was more like relaxed. He wasn't on the thing. But I have a thing, Jordan, that I feel that whenever I walk in a room or talk to anybody, they want to talk to me. Like I have a vibe about me that I carry that 24/7, dude. And some people will be like, bro, who's this fucking guy? And then I stop. I'm not crazy, but it's like very like positive vibe attacking, right? How was it when you first went to New York, coming from Israel and that love thing and everybody's happy and, oh, my brother, dinner and this and that, to go to New York, small place? How was that transition? Because was the first move for the Gary thing? Was that the first time?
Yeah, that's the reason I came to New York was for Gary. So when I moved to Israel after college and everything, I only bought a one-way ticket. And there's actually a picture I took on Instagram. I was like, bought a one-way ticket, just going to Israel. I thought I was going to make Aliyah. I thought I was going to live there, and that was going to be it. That was the plan. And then Gary's team found me, and long story short, I got offered to coach Gary for 3 years straight, 7 days a week.
No, but before that, wait, before that, you pulled the classic Coach HP move, man, which is you flew one day.
Yeah.
Which you don't get credit for that. Everybody's like, it seems, but it takes a lot of fucking balls to do that, man. And when you don't know what's coming, you don't know if the guy, especially a guy like Gary, is going to cancel you that day. Yeah. It's a big vulnerability, Talk to me about making that flight, because how long is the flight from Israel to New York?
It's about 14 hours.
To fucking fly 14 hours, bro.
It was.
Talk to me about you talking to yourself, Jordan, at the time. What were you telling yourself? How pumped were you? Like, give me the whole thing.
So here's what happened. So when I got in contact when Gary's team got in contact with me, they were like, "Hey, we'd like you to interview with Gary. We'd like you to coach him." This was in February of this is February of 2016. So early 2016. And number one, I'm like, is this real? Like I didn't know if it was actually real or not. Like this.
You knew who he was before, Jordan? Did you know who he was?
I knew who he was. I followed him, but like imagine you follow Gary V, and then all of a sudden you're contacted by someone saying they're on his team saying like, hey, we want you to come in. Like, is this a scam? Like, what is this?
It's crazy.
So the guy I was talking to, who's actually now one of my best friends in the world, he was just over here a few hours ago. He told me, he was like, all right, so Gary wants you to interview. We have about 5 people we're looking at right now. You need to fly here and coach Gary. This is in February. And I was like, okay, cool. How about we do it in June? And he laughed. Because I was planning on coming home in June anyway. Like coming like and
I love that.
And he was like, no, we were thinking this week. And I was like, oh, and I was like, no, I can't. And the reason I couldn't is because I had my business had really just started to make enough money where I had money where I could spend it for fun. And the first thing I wanted to do was buy my mom a ticket to Israel because she'd never been in her whole life. And that was her dream.
Look at you, bro. Look at you, man.
Got my mom a ticket and I got her this whole trip because like Israel is like the most historical place in the world. And I was like, I can't show her everything. Like I wanted to give her a tour. So I got her a 10-day tour.
10-day tour. All right, let's stop right there. What makes your mom so special to you, man?
Oh man. There's a lot to that. There's a lot like of what makes my mom special. But I think one of the biggest things is she sacrificed. She like the prime example of someone who sacrificed everything in her life to give my brother and I the best that she could give. And it's something that when you're a kid, you don't really understand. You don't really see it. But looking back, like she literally put everything on hold and stopped and sacrificed everything in order to make sure that my brother and I had everything that she could possibly give us. So I just to be able to actually see that now, there's no words, right? It's like she literally sacrificed everything to make sure that we.
And Jordan, your dad wasn't in the picture?
He was in the picture. They split up when I was about 16, but I think like they split up probably 10, 12, 15 years too late. They should have split up way earlier. It was not good in the house.
And you saw that, right?
Oh yeah. It wasn't good. It wasn't a good environment. That was actually one of the main reasons I never thought I was going to get married, because I was like, if this is what marriage is, then what the heck?
Fuck that.
Why am I ever going to get married? This is stupid. And so then after that, I don't really have a relationship with my father at this point. My brother does. My brother still speaks with him.
And you don't? Why? Because you blame him for stuff. He's a piece of shit. Like it's a negative vibe towards you. He doesn't bring anything to the table positive.
It's really, I don't think he's a bad person. I think he did things that he's probably not proud of, like throughout the marriage and all that. I think as a father, he did things and said things he wasn't proud of. He's not proud of now. I don't think he's a bad person, but I do think a lot of one of the things I realize is whether they're blood or not, if they make your life, if they don't improve your life, if they don't make your life better, you have to come up with it. It has to be your choice of whether or not you're going to keep them in your life.
1,000%, bro. I can't agree with that more, bro.
And I don't wish any ill will on him, like at all. But it got to a point where every conversation, every time he spoke, by the time I got off the phone or whatever it was, I was just like, this is like killing me. It's slowly killing me. And I don't think he realized that. And I don't think it was deliberate, but it was just like, this isn't healthy. So had to remove that from my life.
Lee, I'm the same way, bro. Like I see a lot of people with, especially in the Cuban culture, which is like I call it the Cuban guilt. They keep their parents around and this and that. And I'm fortunate in the sense that I don't need my parents for nothing. So I don't need to kiss their ass. They don't pay my rent. They don't pay my house. They don't pay my anything. They don't pay my mortgage, my car. They never give me a gift. I don't need anything. So that's a positive, right? I asked you about the mom thing because growing up, I don't know if you know anything about my background. I'm the biggest failure in the history of Miami baseball. By far, bro. By far. My dad taught me and prepared me for everything except to deal with him. So he would, which look at the irony of that, right? My dad's the kind of guy that wants you around, but then he's gonna always make you shorter, fatter, and balder when you don't want to be balder. You know what I'm saying? Be like, hey, you're losing your hair, and he thinks he's funny and he's not, and he comes from a place of good, but he couldn't control, because I don't know if the Israeli culture has this, but the Latin culture is stuck with this machismo, testosterone thing, bro, that there's no vulnerability. And especially in the 80s, this like peacocking thing, and my dad would beat the shit out of me in a very bad way when I would fail in baseball. And I was one of the best. So that to me put me in an interesting state. And like on your brother's show, your brother asked you, bro, how do you stay so positive when you're stuck in that? Because when you grow up, I think we're maybe 12 years apart. You're 30?
Yes. Yep.
So I'm 42, so we're 12 years apart. When you grow up in the late 80s, early 90s, and you are stuck with your dad, and my dad had me with him 24/7, controlled everything I did. I didn't have a TV in my room. We had one TV in the house. And he's beating the shit out of you, and nobody's doing anything, including your mom, and she's seeing it, and your sister's seeing it. Everybody said, I'm the youngest. Where do you hide? I hid in my head, and I created this mindset of, don't worry, one day this is going to get figured out. But my relationship with my mom is interesting, bro, because growing up, my mom was that. She did everything for me. She was there. But inside, she regrets not leaving my dad for she left him after 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's just way too late. And I empathize with her because, bro, there's in life, I feel the only two things you can control, my man, are right there: effort and attitude. Everything else, bro, right? But my relationship with my mom now is extremely weird because my mom has there's no connectability, which I'm sure you might have. It sounds like you have my mom is everything is very superficial. Everything's like, how are you? Are you good? Oh, everything's going to be great. Did I give me positive talk? I don't need positive talk. Let's just talk about normal things, Let's talk about that microphone. Let's talk about the hoodie. Let's talk about, so we don't have a good relationship because of that. Because it's very superficial. And I almost feel like she's almost trying to impress me that she's good when she's not. You know what I'm saying? So, dude, I'm super proud that you have that good relationship with your mom and that you were able to cut your dad, because that's special. That's holding a lot of people down, Jordan.
Dude, I agree. It's funny. Gary talks about this a lot. It's like you have to remove negative people from your life. It's like, I think the word toxic has been overused in the last couple of years, but if someone's poison, some people are like poison in your life.
Yeah.
Like some people are like poison. You got to get them out. And I think it can be difficult, especially if they're family or if there's someone who's been close to you for a while. The concept of loyalty has always been very interesting to me. Like a lot of people use loyalty as a justification for allowing someone who's poisonous or toxic or whatever to stay in their life. Well, I have to be loyal to them. It's like, well, are they being loyal to you? Right? It's like, if they're bringing you down, if they're making your life worse, if they're going out of their way, or maybe not out of their way, but if their presence in your life is making your life worse, why is the loyalty only one-sided?
Yeah.
Right. And you really have to decide what's more important to you, like being loyal or making sure that you put yourself in a position that allows you to get yourself to a point where you can be the best version of yourself for yourself and for everybody else. And if one person is keeping you down, then for me, that's not worth it.
1,000%. So we're there. We get the news. The guy says we got to go to New York this week. You're like, listen, bro, I can't. My mom, whatever. Talk to me. Take me right there.
I said, listen, Mike, I was like, I can't this week because my mom is coming the week after, and I wasn't a citizen of Israel. And so Israel takes their travel very seriously. Like the security and borders are super serious. And in my mind, I was like, if I leave and come back in a very short time frame, that is a red flag to the IDF, to the travel, whatever it is. They're like, that's going to look odd to leave for 24 hours and come right back. I was like, could we at least wait for 3 weeks until my mom leaves, and then after that I can come? And he was like, no, it's got to be this week. And I was like, oh man, all right. So I didn't tell anybody. I told no one. I had a roommate. I didn't tell anybody what I was doing. I bought a ticket. I left the next day.
Hold on. How much was the ticket?
$2,500.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was because it was last minute. I was
Did we have reserved? Did we put it on a credit card, Jordan? Talk to me.
Debit. Everything on my debit card. Like even today, everything.
Okay, so we took it to the throat. We took it to the throat. Wow. Okay. Yeah. no guarantee.
No, nope.
2,000 plus to go over there. Talk to me. The prep. What did you wear? How did you? Were you like, okay, what am I gonna wear? Am I gonna go Mr. Fit? Am I gonna go suit and tie? Like, what's the hoodie?
So,
what did you wear?
So I'm a sandals dude. So like, and I was living in Israel. So like, shorts, t-shirt, sandals. I packed a bag of like gym clothes because the interview was coaching Gary. That was what I was going to do. I was like, you're going to coach him for an hour. So, I packed a backpack full of stuff. That's all I brought with me. And that was it. That like, I'm not a watch guy. Like I don't wear a watch or anything, and not fancy, but I did pack a watch. I remember because I thought like, oh, maybe Gary like would like me to look nicer. And so I don't know, like for your mind goes in weird.
Of course, bro.
You know what? I'll pack a watch. So book the flight, go, I fly there. I get there and, I'm literally there for like less than 24 hours. Go coach Gary. And, it was very odd. Like the whole flight there, I was super nervous. And I was trying to design the perfect workout plan, but I didn't know what Gary's goals were, what his issues were. So you're essentially trying to design a program for something that you don't know, which is ridiculous. So
Jordan, did you think that you were going to ask him before or you just said, listen, I'm going to do push pull some class?
I was hoping I was going to have an hour plus with Gary, sit down with him, talk. That's not how it works though.
Like, not with that motherfucker. You're going in and out, bro.
You're in and out. Like you're supposed to have an hour. You usually have like 35 minutes max. And then on the drive there, so I get to my buddy Mike's apartment. I stay there. And as we're driving there in the Uber to Gary's apartment, he's like,
he was Mike's, he was his trainer before, right?
Yeah, he was his trainer. So he was the one who was choosing. He was the one who was choosing.
All right. Does he start prepping you, bro? Like, listen, bro, fucking Gary, don't pull out a banana.
Well, it's funny. So I'm in his apartment. I get my gym clothes on and I put the watch on, which I didn't wear a watch, but I put a watch on and Mike was like, what is that? And I was like, oh, just a watch. And he was like, take it off. And I was like, why? He's like, Gary's not going to want to see you wearing a fucking watch. He's like, you're a personal trainer, not like a fashion person. Take the watch off. I was like, okay. So then I took the watch off. I was like, I shouldn't have brought this anyway. So we get in the Uber, and as we're in the Uber, I was asking him, I was like, so what are his goals? Trying to design this workout. I have a plan. And I'm also trying to impress Mike because I know Mike has like making this decision. And he's like, no, you're going to follow the plan that I wrote. So basically, and Mike is sick. Mike has the flu or something. So Mike just drops me off and leaves. He's like, I can't stay. I'm super sick. So Mike leaves and I'm just there. And then Gary comes downstairs.
His place or Hudson? Because he wasn't at Hudson Yards yet.
No, he wasn't. It was his apartment. Went to his apartment. It was like 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. Right. We go over there. Gary comes down and, Gary always posts pictures of himself like bedhead, like super disheveled, like came down, like looking like he literally just rolled out of bed. Going to the gym. It's just us in there. And the one thing that Mike told me was he was like, he's got some back problems and hip problems. And Mike wasn't really a mobility guy. He's more of an aesthetics guy. One of the reasons I realized they wanted me to come is because I have a background in improving back pain, improving hip and mobility and all that stuff. So I took him through like a 15-minute warm up. I think the warm up is what got me the job because by the end of the warm up, he was like, I haven't felt this good in years. But through a 15-minute warm up, did the entire workout. And I'll never forget this. I think this is sort of what solidified it. We're doing a last set of some tricep extensions. We'd go through the whole workout. We're about 40 minutes in. And right before the last set, I was like, are you ready? He's like, yeah, I'm ready. I was like, all right, let's go. Last set, best set. And I'll never forget this. I said, last set, best set. And Gary sort of stopped, looked in the mirror, and he goes, last set, best set. I like that. And then we hit that, and that was it. And he said, awesome, nice to meet you. Shook my hand. I left. And I took a plane, my next flight back to Israel. I was in and out.
Wait, whoa. Okay, so you're done there. Last set, best set, the whole thing.
Yep.
Now, during the whole training, are you like, okay, one more, harder? Or are you kind of measuring so you're not so try hard? Like, how are you doing that?
I was petrified. I was scared shitless because like I've been following this guy for years and now I'm like in his gym coaching him. My coaching style is more like do less. Right. It's like, I'll come in when you need me, but I found a lot of people, they get annoyed if you're like, come on. Da, da, da. So it was much more like laid back a little bit. I'm a huge stickler on technique. So for me, I'm much more focused on, let's make sure that this is done properly. Let's make sure you're moving correctly. And I'll give you cues. I'm far less rah and much more, let's make this a science-based effective workout. And I think he liked that a lot. There was one time when he was trying to do an exercise and his technique was not good. And he was like, how does my technique look? And I was like, hey, look, it looks okay. Like we can improve it. And he was like, if it sucks, tell me it sucks. And I was like, no, it's okay. He's like, be honest with me. I was like, it sucks. He was like, I needed to hear that. And I'll never forget, because he was like, I like to know if I suck at something, because that means I can improve. And so then I was like, yeah, your technique sort of sucks, but we'll work on it. And
that's awesome, bro.
At the end, I was like, it was nice to meet you. Da da da. He was like, yeah, like we'll be in touch soon. Get on a flight, fly back to Israel, and I hear nothing for 6 weeks. Like I hear nothing. Like I try and contact Mike. Mike is like, we'll get back to you soon. We'll get back to you soon. Nothing. Eventually, I get a text message from an unknown number that I've never texted before, just saying, are you ready? And I was like, and I replied, I was like, who the fuck is this? That's what I said. I was like, who the fuck is this? And then I get a text message of Gary shirtless and flexing. Nice. And that's how I found out that I got it. And I was like, oh man, like this is crazy. And then a week later, I flew to New York, and I moved my whole life, because it was like, you start next week. And that was it. So
broke your lease, whatever you had going on in Israel, pack everything, go to New York. I know you lived with Mike in the beginning, right? Because I saw a video of that where you lived with Mike for a little bit, and then you you rented a place in his building. Talk to me that first week. How did you plan the stuff? What was your goal with him? Were you okay, I'm gonna make this guy? I know he was flabby, so you, or at least it looked that way, was to get him lean, get his food under control. I'm sure that was the big headache, was the food with a guy who's up 24/7. So yeah. How challenging was that?
So it was brutal. I almost quit 3 times in the first 6 months, just because it was 3 years straight was the deal. 3 years, 7 days a week, no weekends, no vacations, no nothing. And it's not just coaching him in the morning for an hour. It's, if at 10 a.m. he's like, I need a protein shake, then I stop whatever I'm doing. Like, for example, right now we're on a podcast. We have this podcast scheduled. If he had texted me, number one, I'd have to have my phone on, just if in the middle of a podcast he was like, hey, I need this, I'd be, hey, sorry, we got to go. If he texted me 10 minutes before, I'd be, got to go. It was all day. It was like, whenever he needs you, you're there, you're on call, which made it super difficult to schedule. But and then also was traveling. Like for the first 2 years, I spent more times in airports and hotels and all that than I actually did in New York City. If he was in Hong Kong, I was in Hong Kong. If he was in LA, I was in LA. It was all over the world. But when I first started, time I work with anyone, the first thing I have to do, I was like, what's your goal? Like, what do you want to achieve? And I remember before the first workout, I was like, hey, before we get into this, like, tell me, like, what do you want? And he said the first words out of his mouth were, he said, if by the end of these 3 years, you can fix my hip pain, it'll be worth it. Because he had this constant hip pain that was like this sharp shooting pain in his hip. And that was also affecting his back. His back went out severely, like 2 to 3 times a year, every year since he was 18. So he was like, if you can fix this hip pain, it'll be worth it. Within 90 days, the hip pain was fixed. It was gone. Wow. Then we went to his back. His back hasn't gone out since I started working with him in 2016. His neck was so bad. His neck was so stiff that his assistant at that time would only book him on one side of an airplane, because we were flying all the time. But his neck would only bend one way. The other way it wouldn't bend. And he would always want like the inside seat so that he could put his head against the plane to sleep. But he could only be on the right side of the plane, because the left side of the plane, he couldn't bend his neck that way. So wow. Fix his hip, fix his back, fix his neck, a lot of his knee pain. He had a torn shoulder on one of his shoulders. He had some meniscus issues in his knees. So his main goal was get pain-free. And he said, honestly, he's like, if I was 20 pounds fatter, but pain-free, I would be happy. So my goal was, all right, let's just make sure you're pain-free. Once we got his hip and his back fixed, and then we're working on his neck, then we really started to focus on losing fat and building more muscle. The main thing he wanted to do was to build his chest. Like he was naturally, like, he didn't
90s. The guy's a 90s dude.
Yeah, he wanted pecs. Like he really wanted to be able to make him dance. He wanted a big barrel chest. So we worked on that a lot. But that was really it.
Dude, I'm sure a lot of his pain was because also playing basketball, bro. Basketball on the court and stuff like that. Were you for the basketball, or were you like, dude, you got to cut the basketball?
I was all for the basketball, and Gary, if he ever happens to listen to this, he'll laugh. I hated how he did it, in that there would be times where like Gary's crazy. He's out of his mind. Like he's actually insane. And anytime there was basketball, there was never just a game of basketball. It was either no basketball or he's playing for 12 hours straight in the heat and sun, like barely hydrate. Like he would go and he'd start playing and no warm up, no nothing. And I'd be like, man, let's do like 5-10 minutes of movement prep before you get, he'd be like, no, and just go. And there were numerous times he would do that. And Gary's super athletic. Like it's pretty crazy. Really, really athletic. He moves really well. I was like, bro, you're 40. Like you've got to warm up before you get in these like 6, 8, 10 hours. Like, and I'm not exaggerating. He would literally play for 10 hours straight sometimes. He had a court in one of the houses we would go to, just play all day, like do that. And then tennis.
For cardio or for the love of the game or both?
Loves it. He just loves it. And he's really good at basketball. He loves playing. He's super competitive. He doesn't do it for the cardio. The cardio is an extra benefit. He loves sports and athletics, and he's actually shockingly good at it.
The biggest thing other than putting you on the map with that is introducing you to like content on steroids.
Yeah.
Like just content out of your mind. Right?
Yeah.
How that conversation started where you were like, okay, I'm training / I'm going to start really now building my Instagram, my YouTube, stuff like that.
Yep.
How did that talk start? Did he just say, listen, bro, part of the deal is I'm going to hook you up and we're going to get you in the Vayner system so you can go? How was that conversation?
So once I found out that I was going to coach Gary, I made the mental decision. I was like, all right, now I'm going to go all in on social media. So, but before Gary, I was doing stuff on my website and a little bit on social, but really my business was driven from email marketing. That's what I had been doing for a long time. And I really enjoyed that. But I had never really done too much social media. So I was like, listen, I want to be coaching Gary. I'm going to go all in on social because this guy is the king of social. And Gary will be the first to say this. I'll never forget. I remember I was with Gary one time in LA after my social media started to pick up, and 2 people walked by us and they recognized Gary and they recognized me. And they were talking to us and they were like, man, like ever since you started coaching Gary, it seems like your social media has taken off. And Gary interrupted them. He was like, just so you know, that's not me. That's him, like putting in the work and doing all the social media stuff. And I think it's funny. A lot of people ask like, oh man, you must have learned so much with Gary. You must have learned so much. The thing I learned the most from Gary was how fucking hard he works. Like if you're a personal trainer, and I don't care if you're coaching a lawyer or an accountant or whatever, during that hour that you're with that client, you're not asking them questions about how you can do what they do. You're coaching them. That's your job. That's their hour. So when I was with Gary, it usually wasn't even an hour, and it was a whole session of coaching. Like we weren't like sitting down and strategizing social media. But I'll never forget, I was flying with Gary and D-Rock one time. I forget where we were flying to. I feel like we were flying to Chicago. We landed at like 2 a.m. and I worked the entire flight. I was just making content. We get off the flight. It's 2 a.m. We land and we're just exhausted. And Gary sort of sidles up to me in 2 a.m. at the airport. We're walking out to the car and Gary goes, how much harder do you work now than before you started coaching me? And I remember like it was a big light bulb moment. I was like, it was night and day. And keep in mind, I had started my business many years prior to that. I like had started to make a name for myself in the industry. Like I wasn't lazy. I thought I was working hard, but the amount of effort that I put into my work once I started coaching Gary and seeing how hard he worked, it's incomprehensible to look at how much harder I worked once I saw what was actually possible.
So harder meaning you would attack more.
It was all day, every day, nonstop. I was coaching Gary, and then I had my own online coaching clients. I was posting on
How many
Instagram
clients did you have, Jordan? How many clients did you have?
Between 70 to 90 online, like one-on-one
at the time.
clients.
At that time.
Yeah, at that time. Yep. Which for one-on-one is a lot, 70 to 90, like emails and programs and all that every week. And then posting on Instagram, bare minimum 3 times a day, every single day on my feed.
Who was doing your editing? Did you hire an editor?
No, that was all me.
So you learned, what would you do? Like Adobe Premiere? What were you doing?
No. So for Instagram, I was just doing like, if I did a video, I just recorded on my phone.
And just talk. Like, you would do the words up top and subtitles or no?
No. So later on, in 2019, I hired a videographer because
That's when you
then
said
it got to be too much.
right.
But I did a lot of infographics, a lot of feed posts,
Awesome, bro.
and that's really how it blew up. If you scroll down my Instagram feed to 2016, 2017, you're going to see a feed of fucking infographics that's when my Instagram, so Gary challenged, this is the big thing. On December 28th, 2016, December 27th, December 27th, 2016. I've been coaching Gary for about 6 months at this point. Gary challenged me to post 3 times a day every day on Instagram because I had been posting like 3 or 4 times a week. And I was like, 3 times a day? I was like, people are going to get sick of me. Like, they're going to unfollow. He was like, just do it. So on December 27th, he said, post 3 times a day. I said, okay, I'll start today. I only posted twice that day. I go into Coach Gary on December 28th, and he's like, did you post 3 times yesterday? And I lied, and I said, yes, I did. And he said, no, you didn't. I checked. You only posted twice. I was like, fuck. So then from December 28th, I started posting 3 times a day every day. From December 28th until April 7th, my Instagram went from about 5,000 followers to 14,000 followers, which is like not great. Like, it was okay, but like, it was a lot of work for it. My Instagram essentially tripled, and it took me a fraction of the time to do that, but it wasn't that many more followers. Then on April 7th, I posted my first ever infographic, and it was the first post I ever had that went viral. Between April 7th and June, my Instagram went from about 14,000 to over 100,000.
Nice,
and then
man.
over the next year, it grew another 100,000. It's just continued like that. So the biggest thing that I really learned from Gary in terms of social media, and Gary talks about this. He said, people want tactics. People are like, what's the tactic that you use? Like, what's the special trick? There's no special trick. Just fucking post. Just post more, and not more for the sake of more, but more and better. And so for the 3 years, 7 days a week that I was with Gary, I worked harder. I think I worked harder and better and more hours in those 3 years than most people probably work in a span of 10 to 15 years.
How old were you when you started?
When I started with Gary, I was 26, I believe. I think I was 20. Yeah, I think I was 26.
Jordan, at that age, at 26, I moved to Los Angeles. J-Lo puts me on a TV show here in Miami called South Beach with Vanessa Williams.
Okay.
I'm like, that's it, man. I'm done. Because I tried baseball. Didn't work out. I go, I'm going to move. I got my SAG card. I got to move to Los Angeles. I never worked in my life. I've been a Little League umpire, which your brother was too, by the way.
He was. I remember.
Yeah, I was a Little League umpire, and I'd done little stuff, just baseball stuff. So I go, fuck it, I'm going to live in a car. So I slept in the Hollywood Hills for 6 months.
Wow.
I would sneak into the Equinox and Sunset Plaza there, shower and shave there. It's so crazy. I went there in January, and I thought it'd be sunny California because I had always seen sunny. I was freezing my ass off at nighttime, Man. It was horrible. And I didn't know a single person. And I honestly thought because of my moves and stuff, I go, bro, this is going to be easy. I'll go to LA. I'll start hooking up with chicks. I'll stay with them. I'll be that guy. And then, you know what I'm saying? Brother, I didn't leave my car because I thought that they were going to steal everything from me in my crazy head. So I learned why homeless people go crazy.
Yeah, I bet.
And I only slept in the Hollywood Hills is because that's where I thought the studios were. But here's the irony of life. When I was with Wilhelmina Models over there, they gave me a flyer of a guy. Guy's name is Gary Austin. And it listed all his credentials, and it said when Helen Hunt won her Academy Award for As Good as It Gets, she thanked him. I go, fuck, this guy has to be good. So I don't think I had $500, man. And I'm like, and I would sneak into the Days Inn and the little things in the morning, the complimentary breakfast.
Yeah.
And I load up in that, dude. And that would be like my thing. And there was, again, no social media. So I couldn't go on YouTube and get motivated by Gary, by Jordan. You know what I'm saying? I had to literally be in my head and go,
man.
I literally became the secret before the secret even came out. Because I would tell myself, I go, listen, This is gonna get better. Or you're gonna be the first Cuban that dies trying to make it. Jordan, look at the irony of this, bro. I sit there. This guy had also created a very famous improv theater called the Groundlings. And when I sat there, the first interaction I had with somebody that wasn't the people at the gym, this dude is there talking and he's wearing a retro Houston Astros baseball jacket.
Okay.
I go, I got this fucking guy. No matter what, I go, I got this guy. Dude, he does a baseball analogy that day. I raised my hands, man, you're absolutely right. I'm a ex-baseball player. We hit it off. He goes to me because one thing that I admire from you a lot is you've really known yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like in real mature spots.
Thank you.
I don't know if that's like the fact that your dad maybe wasn't around and you were an organized dude, or maybe that's the Jewish thing of being prepared, that you go prepared. You know, I suffered a ton with identity issues because I didn't have one. So when I get to Los Angeles and I'm at a place where you're in Hollywood, I'm popping because I'm a 6'2" Cuban that's fucking shredded, right? From steroids. But I'm like, no, I'm going to shark the system. I'm a super, 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 super hard worker, but I was lazy on the process because I'm skipping lines. I go, no, I'm going to hook up with an actress. I'm going to hook up. So I'm going to hustle the hookup, right? Which is respectable, but it ain't the way to go. So as I'm thinking, look at this crazy this is. As I do that, the guy sees my talent and he's like, dude, why don't you come stay with me and my wife and let me teach you acting. Let me teach you how to do this. You can live with us. And what did I do? I said, listen, I would cut your grass. I would drive him around. I would get his beer. I would do all these to be his right-hand man for this, right? But I asked him, I go, well, do me a favor. Let me sleep in your driveway in my car. Because I didn't want, and hustlers can respect this, I didn't want myself to get comfortable and go, because I have tendencies of that.
Yep.
Because I skip very quick because since I'm all in on everything, when you're all in or dying, you either hit or you die. And chances are nobody dies from trying. You hit.
Correct. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I respect that so much about you, bro. So ironically, the guy prepared me to do a one-man show. Every acting thing that I got was because I gave baseball lessons to the creators' kids. I identified that I'm like the kid whisperer, bro. I'm very good with kids and with people, but with kids and through the sport. So I became like a celebrity baseball trainer in Beverly Hills.
Wow.
So I worked with everybody's kids. And after 6 years, Jordan, I go, acting's not for me. But this guy prepared me for what I do now because he taught me stage presence. He taught me improvisational things. I didn't know I was going to use it now. Bro, I did that for 6 years. Failed miserably. I'd be at Leonardo DiCaprio's house, right? And somebody. And when they get to me, I'd bullshit and I said this is the best. I played with the Yankees. I got injured, I injured my arm. And I looked the part and I fit it till the wrong guy Googled me. And then I was out, bro. Then everybody just hated on me. No, the guy hated on me. And it's just like
you Googled your name and you're like, you weren't on the Yankees.
Like the Yankees, you don't even come out anywhere, bro. So that happened. And it was a real famous guy that did that. So I was like, fuck, man. But I was driving around. This is funny. I was driving around Kevin Connolly from Entourage.
Yeah.
And it says, I've never drank or done drugs in my life, right? So I was his designated driver. So I drive him to parties and to clubs and this and that. And the opportunity, and I was thinking, I go, man, I'm thinking of maybe going to Vegas. And he's like, bro, you'd kill it in Vegas. You don't drink. You don't do, like, you'd be perfect. You're the guy for Vegas. Bro, when I went to Vegas and I started off as a promoter and on a 4-year run, dude, I think I was probably the most powerful guy in Vegas. That wasn't like Jason Strauss or like one of these guys that own clubs. I started at a little club called Hyde in the Bellagio as a promoter. Bro, and I ended up being vice president of customer development. I lived at the Aria. I really learned. This is
Wow.
going to take me to my next question. I really learned how to be a man at fucking 31, bro. So this is you now making all these crazy ideas, $2,000 trips. You don't have a male figure. You don't have your dad telling you, listen,
Mm.
go. I got you. This goes wrong. I got your trip. So that's how much credit I give you, bro. First move I did was from the age of 19, bro. I don't know if it was because of steroids or stress dealing with my dad, but I went to a barber one time, and the guy goes to me, and you know these Cuban barbers, I don't know if Israeli barbers or New York, bro. They like very passionate, and they almost like try you. This guy he's doing my hair, and I had jet black hair. He's like, bro, you're going bald here up top, like if I had control, like he was trying me, you know. And since I'm tall, I never really looked. And I would imagine it's the 90s. I gel my hair, I do all this thing. I started from probably the age of 20, bro, to 31 struggling with hair issues.
Mm.
Okay. I did the hair surgery. I have the happy face back here in the
Really?
back of Bosley. Yeah, bro. I didn't even, this is funny. You ever seen Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You know the actor with the long hair who's Israeli, by the way. That dude, I thought I was gonna get because I had wavy hair too. I go, I'm gonna get one hair surgery.
Oh man.
I'm not like you. I did zero fucking research. I go, this is it. Before I moved to Los Angeles, right? I had met with a couple people, and they're like, "Oh, let me take off your hat. Let me see." And you know, when your hair's thinny and you wear a hat,
Yep.
it gets even more thin because it's sweaty. And
Yeah, it's
I
the
live in
worst.
and I'm in Miami at the time, so it's super humid. And people would look at me and go, "Oh my God, you're balding, man. How are you gonna act?" And this is one of the greatest lessons. I had the same acting instructor because I'm a guy, bro, that's able to maneuver.
Yeah.
Might not be talented, but my positivity and my angle, I can maneuver, you know. And I had the same acting coach as The Rock
Oh wow.
because he was Will Smith's guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he got Will Smith because he was the Wayne brothers guy.
Okay.
Okay, Jewish guy too, and a guy got the name of Aaron Spicer, beast, bro, really, really good. And the guy's talking to me, and at the time I was jacked, bro. And he goes to me, and this is why I give all the credit in the world to The Rock. He goes to me, he goes, listen, The Rock hired him to do I think it was Get Shorty. It was a movie where he plays like a gay character or something.
Okay.
And he had really slimmed down. Like he had because at the time, you know, the camera adds the weight. So he had got him The Rock super, super, super lean. And he goes to me, listen, he gave me all these things that I would have had to do to act. And one of the reasons why I give The Rock all the credit in the world is, what kind of hairstyle does he rock now?
Bald, baby.
Fucking bald, bro. How in shape is he? The guy is fucking jacked, bro. He's like Arnold times 1,000.
Yep.
And he did exactly what you did, bro. He said, I'm taking off the fucking watch. I'm going all in. I'm being fucking Jordan. You know what I mean? One of the things I love about you is every time you post, somebody asks you the day, how tall are you? You're like, listen, bro, I'm 5'4". Where a lot of people, especially short people, have the Napoleon complex and they're haters, right? You have all the recipes for being a hater. You're a gym guy, so that means you can mad dog people. You're short, so you can have the Napoleon complex, but you choose to do the complete opposite, bro.
Thank you.
Where does that come from, man? And I'm sure nobody gives you fucking credit for that. But I'm here to give you credit for that because they just think it's easy to live. Listen, it sucks to live life as a 6'2" guy. It sucks even more to be 5'4" if you have issues with it. Because as both me and you know, the best thing in the world is to be bald, bro. You know what you're going to look like all the time. You don't have to worry about it. And you're your own thing, right? But if you got issues with it, like I did with my hair, how come you don't have issues with any of that stuff of being you, man?
Man, well, I'll start by saying everyone's got insecurities, right? So it's like everybody, myself included. And height has historically been an insecurity. Getting bald was an insecurity. But the thing about me, I consider myself very good at behavior and looking at behavior and analyzing behavior and looking at people and understanding why they're doing certain things. And one thing that I noticed from a very young age is it's normal to be insecure about things, but if you project those insecurities outward, it is very unattractive. And I don't just mean unattractive from the perspective of like, oh, like you don't look good. I mean, it's unattractive from the perspective of like, it doesn't feel good to interact with that person.
Right.
Someone who's like very super, super needy. They constantly need reinforcement. They're clearly like not like it. Not everyone can be confident, but if you always need the reassurance or whatever, like it doesn't. No one likes hanging out with that person. And for me, anytime I noticed myself feeling insecure with something, I immediately said, whatever this is, I'm going to fucking own it, because it is very unattractive to be the person who's just constantly insecure about random things. Because when you're insecure about something and then you need reinforcement about it, it leads to very needy behavior and like taking as opposed to giving. And no one likes to hang around with people who are just constantly taking and taking and taking, whether it's actually physically taking or emotionally taking or spiritually taking, whatever it is. And so, I mean, when I first started to go bald, like I was definitely insecure about it, but I noticed, I was like, listen, this is something I'm insecure about. Fuck it. I'm going to own it and I'm going to go all in on it. And it became something that I became confident about. With my height, like it was definitely something that everyone says like, not everyone, like it's biological fact. Generally, women are more attracted to taller dudes. Like it's biological fact. It's nothing bad or negative. Right. It's just the truth. Like that's a fucking fact. But what I noticed was, as long as I was confident in myself, it didn't matter my height, right? Like that was really it. Like it didn't matter. People didn't care.
Let me ask you a question, because I've always said if I was 5'4", I would just date 6-footers. I would look for chicks. Tell me, have you dated? I know you were a chick now before. You ever date anybody super taller than you?
Oh yeah, yeah. A significant number of the women I've dated have been significantly taller than me. Yeah,
like that's a confidence thing, right?
And it's funny because when I would talk to them, and like earlier on, whenever height came up, they'd be like, "Yeah, like you're short, but you don't seem short." And that was always an interesting phrase to hear. It's like, yeah, you're short, but you don't seem short. And when I would ask them about it, because I was interested, like, what does that mean? They're like, just like the way you talk, the way that you act, you don't see. And that's where it's like being short is like a mindset, right? It's
Fuck
not.
Yeah, it is.
Being short is a mindset. It's not like, yeah, like physically I'm short, but when you hang out with me, like it doesn't matter. You don't think about it. It's irrelevant, because what I'm going to talk to you about, we're going to have a great conversation. We're going to laugh. We're going to have fun. We're going to have meaningful, deep conversations. It's like, if you're so insecure about your height that the entire interaction becomes about your height, you are short.
1,000%, 1,000%.
Right? Regardless of how tall you actually are, you could be really tall, but you could be short, right? If
Jordan, how am I doing on time? Because I could talk to you forever. How am I doing on time with you?
Good, man. Good. I
good?
need to, let me plug in my computer real quick.
Go. Bro, you're a guy that's done a ton of podcasts already. You have one and you've done a ton, right?
Yeah. Yep.
How's this one feeling for you? How are you feeling in this one?
Dude, it feels great. I love it. You said something earlier on that was very self-aware. Like you have a personality that just encourages someone to want to talk to you, like very engaging, ask really good questions. Like sometimes you go on podcasts and people are, it's like sometimes
they don't give a fuck. No, they don't care about you, bro. They don't know anything, and it's like, oh, cool. This is it's the worst, man. It's the worst.
Yeah.
One of the things I have a weird empathy for your brother. Right? I had no idea you guys were related. Look how crazy this is. But I go once. Here's my connection to Gary. Just like you said, bro, you started at 14. I started social media at 37, motherfucker. At 37, bro. Okay. I was in the nightclub in Vegas. I'm the guy. And I notice my clients' chicks or whatever, everybody's on their phone. I'm like, what are these girls doing? And I fought not to do it because I go, I don't need to do that. I'm crushing it. I'm making more money I've ever made in my life. I don't need to do social media. So I fought. I never did it. But I was 4 years in Vegas. The man upstairs started talking to me. And he goes, the legend can't die in a Las Vegas nightclub. I remember hearing that over. The legend, you're not going to die in a Las Vegas nightclub. And I was in private planes, supermodel. Like every insecurity I had in my life got fixed, you know? And then, and this is interesting because this is where you landed now, right? I went to high school with my wife. I saw her one time. I was the hottest girl I've ever seen in my life. I didn't go up to her because I I had no game and I had no TV in my room. I had no car. I go, how are you going to go to a smoking hot chick where you got nothing to offer? So I knew that. But she kind of smiled when she looked at me. I go, oh, and I just said to myself, I got a chance. And I left it at that, right? Bro, fucking 15 years later, whatever, I come back to Miami for a little brief second before I left to Vegas. I had a little bit of attention in Los Angeles. I became a little known. I'm on Facebook, fucking taking down every single girl that kind of messaged me from Miami. I got a copy and paste of, hey, are you free? I just copy it. I was destroying it, bro. And then remember, Facebook used to have a feature that says, that pops up and says, you think you know somebody. Oh, you might know somebody. And her face popped up. And I was like, holy shit, man, this girl still, because we're the same age. She still holds up. She looked gorgeous, bro. I messaged her and she responded. Jordan, we went on the best first date of my life, bro. This girl was like affectionate and it was a love thing. It wasn't a sexual thing. It was like, I'm going to fuck this chick. It was just like, and we were kissing. I go, this is crazy. I go, I'm not going to move back to Miami. Like, this is bull. Like, it was just crazy. It didn't hit. I'm in Los Angeles. She's here. I go, whatever. She kind of goes, this guy's not serious. Anyway, it's like a player, blah, blah, blah. I go to Los Angeles. This girl, I'm going to Las Vegas. I'm crushing Las Vegas. The man upstairs is talking to me. She reaches out to me out of the blue to throw her. She's like, hey, I don't know if you remember me. Best first date of your life. To throw her best French bachelorette party at my club. I go, oh, I fucking got her now. Because I'm driving. You can imagine. Look at this setup. I'm driving when I dated her here, or that time I dated her here. I'm driving around my mom's Camry. No swag whatsoever. I'm picking this chick up, whatever. Imagine in LA, I had my G-Wagon, I had everything going, but I came here last minute to help my mom out.
Yep.
So I had her there as the guy in Vegas. And bro, when I took her to dinner on Sunday and she was dating, so she was going to get, the dude was going to propose her. I sat there, right? And she was so nervous. And there's a restaurant called Javier's, which is amazing there at Aria. Anyways, I'm the home team now. I know everybody. I walk into the place and it's like I'm Sam Rothstein from from Casino. You know what I'm saying? I'm the guy. And I sat there and she goes, I sent a limo to pick her up. Like it was all Sky Suites at the Ari. Like I'm the man. And everybody knows me. And she goes, I wonder because I'm nervous. And she goes, I wonder if it's because of this lifestyle that I'm seeing, or is it because of you? And my chick, to give her credit, 40 years old, at the time she was like 37, 38, masters, made her own stuff, died of AIDS when she was real young, raised by her immigrant grandparents, had her grandparents living with her, took care, like really old school Cuban style. And this girl could have gone crazy here in Miami and she didn't, you know? And she goes, no, it's you. And she goes, what am I doing here? And Jordan, right there, I thought to myself, buddy, I go, oh my God, am I going to stop all this of being the man? Because this girl ain't going to move because she has a grandparent. She's not going to move to Vegas.
Right.
Am I going to go to Miami? What the fuck am I going to do in Miami? Holy shit. And I thought about it for like about 47 seconds in pause. And these words came out of my mouth like this. I go, listen, if you give me the green light, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. You're going to break up with this dude. You're going to start dating me. We're going to get married. We're going to have kids. Okay? So as a guy now that sits here at 42 now, been married for 6 years. We have 2 kids now, right? And I talked to her because I know this is where you're headed now. You left New York to be family guy and stuff, right? I was a 37-year-old guy vlogging in baseball fields in Miami. I got hated on by everybody. Okay, except the kids. The kids would be like, oh, vlogger, what? I'm there vlogging. Hey, what's up? And I did that because of Gary, because I didn't know who he was. And I saw a guy talking to Tony Robbins and interviewing Tony Robbins every single time. I go, who the fuck's this guy? Right? That happens. I start becoming the kid whisperer. I start getting known on social media. I start getting known. I'm on ESPN. And they're asking me about my method of mindset, dealing with kids, whatever. And I endorse, for some reason, I go, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity. I endorse Crushing It. I go, what's up, guys? Look, Crushing It. This is a good book in English and Spanish, whatever. That was in 2019. 2020, I become the first guy to sign with Rawlings. You ever heard of Rawlings, the baseball company?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
The gloves. So I'm the first influencer to sign with Rawlings, and we have Gold Glove Awards in New York City. There's a dude working for Vayner, reaches out to me, loves my content, wants me to be on his podcast. This dude is doing podcasts in Gary's office.
Mm.
And I was like, first of all, that shit's crazy because that ain't Gary's thing. And number two, I go, up, So I sign with New Balance. I go to Boston. I go to New York in the morning, and I notice a hostile vibe towards this guy. And he's my boy. And we talked till then. But I was like, holy shit. And I go to him. His name's Andrew. I go, Andrew, listen, we don't have to do it in his office, bro. I go do something to the fucking bridge. I'm here because of you, not because of Gary. You know what I'm saying? I love Gary. I love the thing, whatever. He's like, no, we do it. He goes, listen, you should talk to this kid. He's a big Astros fan. So I started talking to this Astro guy during the World Series, during the Nationals, blah, blah, blah. At the end of it, I go, listen, dude, because I never had anything, Jordan. So my way of fitting in, I learned, is by giving without asking for anything.
Yep.
Like giving. So I go, listen, bro, I'm pretty good at baseball mindset. Do you need any help? Because, bro, you sound like, he goes, no, bro, but my brother is fucking obsessed, and my dad is, and my brother's a freshman in high school. I go, done. Bro, I fly in a day earlier. First time in New York, like for this. I'd never been in New York before as Coach HP or whatever. I fly in a day earlier, work with this guy. His dad takes his brother. They take me out to eat that night. I go, listen, man, I'm interviewing players at the Plaza Hotel, whatever. But if you need me to do it again, because I didn't see the kid hit and it was cold, it was in November. He's like, done. Let me know. I'm here for you. I'm interviewing on a Friday. I'm interviewing Ozzie Smith in the hotel, and I get a huge text from this kid's dad. Bro, like, dude, I would really appreciate it. This organization, like, he set everything up, like, so detailed. I go, I can't let this guy down. I go, listen, I'm done here Saturday at 3:30 in the morning. At 7 o'clock, Jordan, my happy, positive self was on that ferry to go. His son picked me up.
Wow.
Drove to New Jersey. For 3 hours, I gave lessons. I talked. Spoke to team, and I'm recording everything. I have everything documented. When we're done, the guy pulls me aside. Listen, bro, what you did to me today, no one's ever done that for me before. It's so special. I'm going to tell you something. Gary V's my best friend.
Wow.
And I'm going to introduce you to Gary. That gentleman's name is Lou Janelle.
No way.
And the kid is Lou Janelle, little Lou, bro. So
wow, that's crazy.
That is my boy. 2019, I'm on ESPN, Jordan. 2019 on ESPN. 2020, February 21st, the exact same day I'm holding Crushing It, I'm sitting in Gary's office. The exact same day to a year, bro. I'm sitting in Gary's office, and I'm telling him, first thing I tell him is, it's like same vibe with you, how proud I am of him, whatever. I don't need anything from him. I go, listen, you're going to be in Alberta, Canada. I'm going to be speaking in Toronto, Canada. I want to fly over there, and I want to help you with some stuff. If I could be part of the street team and help you. He goes, whoa, let's take this to a different way. Me and you need to have dinner. Which is a big deal to fucking, first time you meet Gary, for him to say that, it's a big deal. That was February 2020. I think I got corona after that trip because I was like shaking everybody's hand. The world changed, bro, right? I still haven't had that thing because the world changed for that. But it's because I know how to deal with failure that I go, don't worry about it. This eventually will hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
You, man, you now made the big move to leave the greatest city in the world. Because I don't care with corona, without corona, New York's New York, bro. Any way you look at it, right?
Yep.
You leave, you propose to a chick, which for a guy like you is interesting because you're a content heavy guy, man. And you're very content heavy on the truth. Because I think that's what makes you the best. I think you're the best trainer on the internet right now. It's you because you're so relatable to the people, in your lane, As you sit there and go, okay, let me move to fucking Dallas now, right? Middle of the country. What are you telling yourself? What's your goal now? Because I know eventually you want to have a family. It's different, dude. When you got kids, I'm telling you, bro, it changes, right? Because you want to shoot how to do fucking squats and your wife needs help because, bro, there's postpartum. There's a whole new thing that comes with this family stuff we don't talk about, right? Take me to your mindset right now, bro. Where you at? How happy are you that you made the move? Talk to me.
Dude, I'm great. I love it. New York is the best city in the world. It always will be. I lived there for 5 years, and it got to a point where I was like, it's not for me anymore. I love it. I'll come visit, but I didn't want to live there anymore. When I was in New York, you know how we talk about environment is everything, right?
Yeah.
It really is. The environment of New York was for me. If I'm in New York, I'm working, and I'm not just working, like I'm obsessively working. I'm not sleeping. I'm not training. I'm not eating well. Everything is focused on work. And that's just my mindset when I go there, because that's like what I lived with there. And that's like the behavior my brain knows associated with that city. Now my main goal, I'm focusing on myself more. I'm not only am I working less, I'm learning to become okay with working less. I worked so much that I isolated myself. I alienated people. It was like, there was no balance. It was just work. That was my whole life. And it was great, and I don't regret it at all. But now as I get older, I need to focus more on me. I'm in the best health I've been in, I think, ever, conditioning wise, strength wise, flexibility wise, mentally, emotionally. I'm looking out the window, just got more natural light, more space, sun, all of it. Getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night for as long as I can until we have kids. And I'm sure that'll go down the drain. But for me right now, someone gave me a piece of advice when I was 24, 25. It's my buddy, Pat. He gave me some really good advice. And he said, listen, making more money will solve more problems until you get to a point in which making more money will cause more problems.
Right.
And it was really, really good piece of advice. And I got to a point, I'm very blessed and very lucky, in which I realized working more and with like working more and going more and more to work more hours, work harder, make more money, get all this stuff. It got to a point where it was going to cause more problems, whether it was because of anxiety, whether it was because of health, whether it was because I wasn't spending enough time with my family, my friends, I wasn't balancing my life. So moving here was I think the spark that I needed to put myself in an environment that facilitated that. And for me, New York facilitates an environment of hustle. And,
Right.
for some people, that's what they need. And that's great. And that's what I needed years ago. Now I need to live life, and I need to be with the people I love, and be okay with working less.
I love that, man. One of the things I told your brother was, I go, listen, motherfucker. I go, listen to me, bro. Because I go, you've been blessed in ways that you have no idea. Okay. You were on a 9-year, 10-year run on a very successful podcast.
Mm-hmm.
People know you. Now you're a different guy than the guy you were back then, because you were sidekick of a very out there comedian. Right.
Yep.
And he had to be the butt of the jokes for a couple things. And we all have to be when we're starting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes maybe he didn't want to take this or do that or but that's how you fit in. That's how you got your ABs, right?
Yep.
I go, listen to me, bro. Let me tell you what I would do, because he was scared that he was reaching his 100-pound weight loss goal, that he knew his birthday was coming up or any of the celebration. I go, let me tell you what I would do, motherfucker. I would reach out to fucking Jordan. I'd fly to fucking Dallas, Texas. Okay. I would document the whole thing, because the same thing, and the internet loved this. YouTube, this was one of the most talked about things on the show. I go, this is fucking Syatt brothers all day, motherfucker. I grab your brother. He's a trainer, bro. Lower yourself, because remember, man, you got to understand, he's your older brother. So on some weird level, he has that, like, and I told him, get that shit the fuck out of your brain, right? He's an ally, bro. And it's so funny. I go to him, I go, listen, bro, and you like saving money. Your brother's not going to charge you, right? You're going to stay with him.
Yep.
The only thing missing in your brother's career is his confidence and content. Two things that you fucking have, right? I go, listen, mimic whatever Jordan does. whatever. When you recorded, he is an honest guy, and your brother's a vulnerable guy, and he's funny in his own way.
Yeah,
right.
Yep.
So I go, you grab that motherfucker, and you do the 30th there in Dallas, and you get him to train you, whatever, and you get that 100. That way, you're safe and you're covered, bro. I think he reached out to you after that. Did he or not?
He did. Actually, I didn't know that's where the idea came from. But
yes,
yeah,
sir.
He did. And dude, I was shocked because I don't know if my brothers told you about it. My brother and I didn't talk for like 10 years. Like we did not have a good relationship at all. Like there was a lot of issues. And this whole process has brought us closer together, which is like the greatest blessing. It's been such a joy for me. And and when at first I was like, all right, like I'm just open to have like an open line of communication. We're talking, helping improve his health, all of that. And when he was like, hey, I'm thinking about, I'd like to come to Dallas. Like, bro, I couldn't stop smiling for a week. I was like, there's no way like that he wants to come and hang out.
I'm going to show you the clip. You got to look at the thing. You got to see what I told him. I told him at the podcast, I go, you have to do that, bro. I go, don't talk to me if you don't do that.
We're setting up the dates, but yeah, he brought it up and I could not be more excited about it.
And I think he's going to do comedy over there too, because I told him you have to do comedy over there too.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Because I think, right, in terms of, okay, he's a comedian that needs to go on stage.
Yeah.
But he has certain issues that gravitate with him towards food and bring him down.
Yep.
So I go, if we could continue to do both, you do the comedy, because he needs you, bro. Because remember, like you said, dude, the success has traps. The one trap of being successful is you're by yourself.
Yep.
Because when you were there crushing it in New York, right, even though it's awesome, you didn't want to eat pizza every fucking day.
Correct.
It's awesome when you're sitting there and you order it and it's awesome. 2 hours, 3 hours later, as you notice yourself like, fuck, man, I'm starting to get fat. My face is bloated. But you're in bro, when I was in Vegas, I made a goal to work for a year. Positive momentum took me to 1.5 years every single day in Vegas, every single day. I would start because I started picking up, I would get paid to bring girls to a nightclub. So I would start Mandalay Bay, Luxor, Excalibur, every hotel, just looking at girls. Hey, you want to come to the club with a suit and tie? I wore a suit and tie every single day. I would go to a place called Las Vegas Tan. I would spray tan my head. So here and my hands, I was fucking Julio Iglesias, bro. Pale white from down here. But the suit was like armor. But that's the goal I made. Same thing when I became Coach HP. People are like, wait a minute, you work on the internet and you do content and you're going to be It's the loneliest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Because people can't relate to you.
Correct.
Because of they can't empathize with your success. They can't empathize with the amount of fucking work you do, and they're haters. And it's not their fault because they don't have that winning gene that you were born with to say, hey, let me do this for free. Right? Which you got, but your brother didn't get.
Yeah.
He's not like that. And you now understanding that, hey, bro, you're my brother. You didn't get that gene, but you know what you did get that we all have? You got a heart.
Yeah.
Because I trust you. I trust that dude, just like you. I trust you with what. So that's how you got to look at it. And he needs you way more than you need him. So maybe there you'll need a little more, But I love that guy, man. And I'm so happy that he reached out to you. I'm going to get him. See if I surprise him. What I want to do is I want him to book something in Dallas that he's good, and I want to show up.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
I want to show up. Yeah, record and watch him on stage and stuff and whatever. 2 more questions before I let you go. Last thing. What type of music do you like, man? What's your favorite type of music?
Man, I like everything. I don't listen to opera or yodeling, but aside from that, I really like everything. Lately, man, I just go towards workout music, and Eminem is just like Name me one Eminem song. Give me your Eminem song. One Eminem song. Lose Yourself.
That's the one, bro. That's the
one.
Brother, you are the best, man. I am so pumped for you in the future and what you have. I couldn't be more proud of you, bro. Before I let you go, any questions for me, man? Anything I can help you with?
Bro, no, it's been wonderful. Like, you were on a great show. It's been incredible getting to hang out with you. Hopefully we can do it in person sometime soon. If I can ever do anything, I hope you don't ever hesitate to reach out. You got my number, man. I'd love to link up at some time, and thank you for having me on.
1000%, dude. I'm here in Miami, and I go to Grapevine a lot because I speak a lot in Texas.
Okay. Yeah. So, amazing.
So we'll be in touch. Hold on, don't leave. Let me hang up with you the right way. I'm gonna hang up with you the right way. Hold on. I'm gonna end this.